Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're leading a team, building a product, or honestly just navigating the strategic landscape of your business right now, you already know that AI is no longer just some trendy buzzword. It's literally the foundational infrastructure of the next decade. So today, we're going to do a really clear structural breakdown of exactly how AI has evolved. We're talking about the journey from those basic text-generating chatbots we were all just playing around with a couple of years ago, all the way to the highly complex, autonomous enterprise systems that are actually being deployed right now. Okay, let's dive right into this. I absolutely love this quote because I think it perfectly captures the massive paradigm shift we've all been living through over the last 4 years. We aren't just dealing with autocomplete on steroids anymore. We are quite literally building digital colleagues. And honestly, keeping that in mind sets the stage beautifully for our strategic breakdown today. All right, real quick, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the AI capability explosion. Second, the shift to reasoning. Third, we'll cover the evolution of agentic engineering. Fourth, multi-agent systems today. And finally, we'll wrap up with the future operating model.
So, jumping right into section 1, the AI capability explosion.
When we actually map out the major milestones, the velocity here is just staggering. I mean, 2022 honestly feels like a century ago in AI years, right? Back in November 2022, ChatGPT brought conversational AI to the mainstream. Then, just a few short months later, bam! March 2023, the GPT-4 ecosystem explodes, and developers start building at serious scale. Fast forward to May 2024, and GPT-4o introduces us to real-time multimodal interactions. So that's text, vision, and audio all unified into one experience. And then, by September 2024, the o1 series brought us something entirely new, deeper reasoning. In under 2 years, we went from simple next token predictors to models that literally pause to think before they give you an answer. And hey, OpenAI definitely hasn't been operating in a vacuum. If you look at the top of the chart we're showing here, look at how major players like Google, with their Gemini models, and Anthropic with their Claude series, totally match and even push that pace. We went from Claude 1 in early access, right alongside GPT-4, all the way to Claude 3.5 Sonnet and Gemini 1.5 Pro handling these massive context windows. So this isn't just some cool tech evolution. It is a cutthroat, highly competitive enterprise market where the best minds in the world are racing to build the infrastructure for your business. All right, moving on to section 2, the shift to reasoning. Now, I want to slow down for a second here because this is the core paradigm shift driving all enterprise AI today. Understanding this through line is absolutely crucial. So how exactly did a transformer decoder, which fundamentally is just guessing the next word, become the foundation for an entirely new computing paradigm? Well, it happened in steps, like a giant puzzle coming together. It started with next token prediction. That unlocked basic understanding. From understanding, we started optimizing for reasoning. And once a model could reason, well, we gave it the ability to use tools. Tool use is what enabled planning, and planning is what finally gives us autonomous action. And make no mistake, this deep reasoning fundamentally changes everything. The arrival of models like the o1 series marks the exact point where AI crosses over from just simple text generation into complex problem solving. These new models use what's called compute time deliberation, meaning they generate chain of thought logic under the hood at inference time. They don't just spit out the first answer that comes to mind, they actually work through the math or the code or the scientific logic step by step. Which brings us to section 3, the evolution of agentic engineering. Okay, so now that we know these models can reason, let's talk about the how. How are businesses actually engineering real-world systems around them? Let's ground ourselves with a clear definition here. Agentic engineering is the set of structural methodologies used to harness large language models. We have completely progressed past basic prompt generation, typing a question and getting a simple answer, and moved into incredibly robust multi-step workflows. The agentic systems of today feature long-lived memory, standardized tool calling, and the actual capacity to execute autonomously. When you look at these two eras side by side, it is a stark contrast. Back in 2022, chat assistants were all about single-turn help, basic Q&A, maybe drafting an email. But flash forward to 2024's agent workflows, these systems can plan out a complex project, attempt a task, realize they hit a wall, retry with a completely different approach, remember what you talked about last week, and execute multi-step tasks across entirely different pieces of software. Honestly, if your enterprise strategy is still relying on the paradigm from 2022, you're going to find yourself fundamentally unequipped to compete with the capabilities we have today. But engineering this transition meant having to mature step by step. In 2022, it was just prompting, but businesses very quickly realized that models hallucinate. So in 2023, we layered on RAG, retrieval augmented generation, and tool calling to actually ground the answers with real company data via APIs. Then, by 2024, we added agent workflows to bring in true autonomy and error correction. And now, hitting 2025, we've got real production frameworks. We're talking robust agent SDKs to deploy these complex systems reliably and at massive scale.
Let's look at where we are right now in Section 4, multi-agent systems today. As we start staring down 2026, the focus has entirely shifted away from single models to orchestrated teams of agents. So, what's the cutting edge right now? Well, we're seeing the massive rise of interoperable multi-agent systems. We have things like MCP, that's the Model Context Protocol, which gives us a standardized way for AI to seamlessly connect to your local data and tools. We're seeing A2A, or agent-to-agent interoperability, where, for example, a research agent digs up data and hands its findings directly over to a coding agent. We're even seeing computer use agents that can operate a web browser exactly like a human would. In practical business terms, we now have orchestrated teams of specialists, coordinating across all your tools to get actual complex work done.
If you check out the "We Are Here" marker on this map, it really puts it into perspective. We have moved way past early rule-based automation. We are completely past simple RAG. We are firmly living in the era of interoperable multi-agent systems. These systems are coordinating across different tools, different environments, and solving vastly larger problems than a single chat prompt ever could.
Okay, but let's take a breath and ground the hype for a second. What is the actual reality on the ground for enterprises today? First off, human oversight is still absolutely essential. It's not going anywhere. Second, observability and evaluations have become the core engineering disciplines. You literally have to be able to see exactly why an agent made a specific decision. Third, reliability is vastly more important than raw autonomy in a corporate setting. Actually, scratch that. It's not even about model intelligence anymore. The real bottlenecks today are governance, safety, and system integration. Those are the hurdles you have to clear.
Finally, let's wrap things up with Section 5, the future operating model. So, where is all this heading? Ultimately, all of this engineering capability is converging into what comes next, the agentic operating model. We're going to see persistent enterprise agents that actually have their own identity and memory living right inside your corporate directory. We're talking about cross-agent collaboration stretching across entirely different software vendors. We're moving toward an agent-native enterprise architecture, where businesses are literally redesigned from the ground up to support these integrated human-agent teams. And honestly, the most important part for business leaders, we are finally going to see measurable ROI with true service-level agreements tied directly to how well these agents perform. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. We've walked through the timeline. You've seen the incredible shift from a powerful predictor to a truly intelligent collaborator. You've seen how the engineering has matured from simple chat to multi-agent teams. The era of AI systems that can plan and act in the real world, it's definitively here. It has begun. So the only question you really have to answer right now is, are your workflows actually ready for the agentic operating model?